Okay, I'm going to put the filter on, new filter. It's a high flow 202, and I'm not going to be putting any oil in it. Maybe get something to cut that off. Lots of opinion out there as to whether you should pre-fill your filter. I'm not going to, simply because I don't believe that it's necessary. Lots of people out there that say you should pre-fill your filter before you put it on, even when you're doing an oil change, which seems a bit strange to me, because you've got an engine full of oil still. There's going to be a good cupfuls of oil in there, in all of the right places, i.e. around the bearing journals, the main shaft, the cams, the big ends, the little ends, everywhere it needs to be, because it's going to be sitting in between those clearances that you meticulously measure when you strip an engine down, and it's going to be lubricating those bearings, and it's not going to be pushed out or pushed around because oil hasn't reached it yet. It's going to be doing its job until the oil reaches it. So it might take valuable seconds for oil to permeate that filter media once you've filled it up and switched the engine on and let it run around, but it's not going to be doing any harm. This engine's been completely stripped down, and all of those components have been put together with assembly lube, which is thick and gloopy, and is going to stay in place for a lot longer. So I'm not concerned about it at all. So I'm not going to pre-populate the filter. And also, is there any evidence that it takes ages for oil to permeate that filter media in there? Not really. It's just something people repeat because they've heard it. No evidence. So I'm just going to go sticking this straight on dry, and it's going to be a little while before this gets an engine oil fill up anyway, because the bike still needs a little bit of work to be done on it before I put the engine back in, and the engine needs a little bit of work to be done on it still before I get ready to work on the main body of the bike. So let's crack on and stick the filter on, and then there's a few other little bits we need to do before we're done. This isn't the best surface in the world, still a bit half painted I think, so anyway, just putting a bit of oil around the O-ring, and this is regular 10W40 oil, or is it? No, it's not actually, it's 5W30 that I stick in my car. Never mind, we'll obviously put the right oil in when we come to do the fill up. Okay, so just want to stick an old glove in there, rubber glove, latex, whatever you want to, whatever it is, and give this a little bit of a helping hand. I'm not the strongest person in the world. Wrist power is not going to do it. Should get a proper, well, say proper, should get one of those cup types that sits over there a lot easier, I think. See, look at that. It didn't feel like it was tight, actually. It felt like it was a lot tighter when I was just doing it by hand. So I'm glad I gave it a bit of an extra. You should probably really do it, seat it by hand, and then try and sort of go around a good half a turn at the very least. That feels okay. I'm treating the engine to a new set of spark plugs. I don't think there's anything wrong with the old ones, but you know, they're so cheap it's not worth skimping on. So these are, some of them not even gapped, some of them got no gap at all on the electrodes, weirdly, but then they've been out of the bike for some time, out of the engine for some time, so they might just have been pushed in. You need DPR80A9, so let's whizzle them in. I will need to take them out again when I get the engine in the block and compression test it, but I'm just going to park them in the block for now for safe keeping. I was thinking for a minute, did that not have a protective collar? But yeah, it did. What I'll do is I will get my feeler gauges, and I'll get the right one to make sure. Yeah, they all had collars on them, don't worry. To make sure they're gapped okay. They're probably fine without any adjustment. They should need 0.9 millimeters on them. So let's get my feeler gauge. Right, so I've got several sets of feeler gauges. This one only goes up to 0.7, so I've just put it together with a 0.2, and that should do the trick. And I've cleaned it all up, so we've got no gunky see, that doesn't want to go in, so let me go and get something to open it up a little bit. Just need to gently tease these. I might have to go and find my other set just to make it a little easier. That seems okay, that's just about right. So that's saying that's 0.9. Happy with that one. Let's try that one. Yeah, they're all a little tight, so they're probably just gapped at sort of 0.8, I would imagine. This is quite a wide gap that's required on this. That's fine. They're pretty much all the same. So yeah, I think they've just been gapped to 0.8. That's absolutely fine. It's slightly looser actually. That's absolutely fine. I might just check these one more time. Yes, so those two are a tiny bit tighter. But you know, hair's breadth between them, so they're all good. Right, anyway, I happen to have the right size socket spanner to hand, so I'm not going to go breaking out any long reach slim sockets. There you go, that's in. Very fine threads, as you probably know. Just going to do it up by hand, as in I'm not going to torque it. Again, they probably only need about 20 Newton meters or something like that, but I'm not going to torque them, simply because I will need to take them out again when I've got the engine in the frame. So that I can perform a compression test. There's no point really tightening them up anyway. They all need to come out. Right, next job is to fit the exhaust downpipes and the heat shield, and oh yeah, I need to get some new screws. Right, next job then is just to fit the exhaust downpipes and heat shield. As you can see, I've spent a little bit of time cleaning all of this up. That came up rather nice. It is chromed, which does make it rather hard to clean because chrome is exceptionally hard. So it's very difficult to get the pitted rust out. If it were just sort of plain, even stainless steel, but mild, you'd be able to take a surface layer off, but very difficult to do that with chrome. So it's clean enough and it's good enough to go back on. So I've cleaned out all the threads on the downpipes, ready to accept the bolts. I've cleaned up the collars, they're all nice, and I had to buy new bolts because these are 3 that came out. One's gone missing, and that one you can see I destroyed getting it out, so I had to weld a bit to it. All the washers are rusty. I was going to use these, which I just found in the parts bin, but I don't like the idea of cap heads. I'm not even sure they're big enough, even with washers and with heat cycles and so on. They could be very difficult to get back out, particularly cap heads. They can round easily. Wanted hex heads, so I went and bought a supply M6x1, and you can see I cut them down using a nut. Where's he gone? Over there. And a washer as a spacer. So I've just cut to 6mm in length. They will do the job. So let's get this all back together, and then we are nearly done. Decisions time. Which gaskets do I use? These ones, which I bought for this engine, or these ones, which came in my big old gasket set, my engine rebuild kit. Oh, they're definitely thicker. I think I'm going to use these. You need something quite thick. Let me slot the collar over there, slide the collar over I should say, and if I just offer that up, not put the gasket in yet. There you go. So that's seated. The collar is seated. You can see there's an awful lot of wiggle room, but there's still some wiggle room backwards and forwards as well. So that collar takes, the gasket takes up all of that wiggle room and obviously seals it too. See, there's a good bit of wiggle room there. Most of it is that way, but that will get held in place by the heat shield and the exhausts as well. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to use some slightly thicker ones, but let's get those gaskets in. So what I'm going to do is just put a dollop of grease in there, just to hold everything in while I'm fitting the pipe. Just stops the gasket from falling out. It's all really just like a very temporary glue. If I can put a load in, which I am, does absolutely no harm whatsoever. And then just get that on. Get them started. Easier said than done. Much easier said than done. Let's get a socket on that so we can get everything in there a little bit more easily. I don't know if that's bit. Feels like it's bit. There's not a lot of stick out on these threads, so I kind of wonder if I've threaded them in a bit far. They didn't have any kind of collars on them or anything, so I'm not going to do this up tight because I just still need it to have some movement. And don't forget, if it feels like it's seated, it's not, because that gasket does need to crush. There you go. That's quite tight, not tight as it needs to be, but we just need to keep some adjustment in it for putting the heat shield on, because with both of them on there, of course, yeah, they've got to be in a certain position for the heat shield's 4 bolts to seat properly, or to fit, if you like. If it's not in the right position, it won't. So we just need to keep that little bit of flex so that once they're both in, we can kind of just adjust their position to get the heat shield firmly and correctly seated. Okay, so let's do the same this side. We'll get a bit of grease jolloped in there. Anything that's in the pipe will just burn off, burn out, won't come to any harm. This engine's going to smoke anyway when it goes back together. Well, I mean when it fires up, goes back in the bike. Okay, there's both sides on. And you can see they're free to move in that direction. I used thicker gaskets on both sides, and those collars will still need nipping up once I've got the heat shield on and everything's in place. Probably what I'll do though is I'll still leave everything a little loose because I've still got to fit the exhausts on, and no doubt these will still have to move a little bit, so no point in tightening everything right up. I'll nip it all up, and then if anything needs to move, I can just loosen everything off as I go, can't I? That's a whole lot better than forgetting to do everything up. It's got a lot of travel on it. That is the most awkward side. I can't really get a socket on these very well. Funny design, isn't it? This side, fairly clear route in. Okay, and that is the complete rebuild of the 1984 Honda VF750F engine. Rebuild might be a little generous, to be fair. It's more of a strip and a clean. So the reason I took the engine out of the frame and stripped it down in the first place is because I bought this bike about 2 years ago. Engine wasn't running. Diagnosed a bad starter, swapped that out, got the engine running, and I had 3 issues. Firstly, I was blowing white smoke out of the exhaust. Secondly, I had water in the crankcase, adjudged by the frothy coffee that was pouring out when I took the sump plug out, and I had low compression on number 2. All of that points to a bad head gasket, and with that much water in the crankcase, the only thing to do is to strip her down and clean her up, which I've done. I've replaced the crankcases, new head gasket, checked her all over, seems fine, threw it all back together, there she is. I don't think you're going to see these colours when the engine's back in the frame because they're going to be kind of buried by all the fairings and the tank and so on. The side panels will be fine, and I've just done some little Honda racing colour features there. Same on the other side. Well, that is it for the rebuild of the 1984 Honda VF750F engine. Literally nothing left to do on this apart from put it aside and then start to think about looking at the main body of the bike. Absolutely tons of work to do there. As I put the engine back in the frame, lots of parts that will go back in will also need cleaning up, quite possibly repainting quite a bit of it, a few new fixings possibly, but we will do that as we get to it. But the bulk of what I need to look at are the tank, which I've cleaned with citric acid, I've repaired the petcock, I've already looked at the carbs, cleaned them, put them all back together, but all of that will need another look over again, I suspect. And then the next jobs to big jobs that I need to get to will be all the fairings, which are going to need taking back and repainting because they're not really in the correct scheme, and the paint is just absolutely atrocious. If you've watched my earlier videos, when I first bought this bike 2 years ago, it smelt of house paint. It was just atrocious. So that is probably the biggest job. Other things that I need to do: rebuild the forks, rebuild all the brake calipers, and replace the clocks because they're in kilometres an hour, because this bike is a Japanese import. It came to the UK in 2009. It's got KMH clocks on it, and the clocks have also got a rev limiter built in. This bike, which is a 1980s superbike, won't do any more than about 112 miles an hour, should be in the 140s, so we need to get those clocks replaced out for here in the UK with MPH clocks and no limiters built into them. So those are all jobs that I'll need to start thinking about over the next few weeks, and while I do, I'm going to find a safe place for this engine. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. I will get back to you, and we'll see you next time.